Buy some cheap tax deeds for as little as $1,000 here today. These can be cheaper than a crappy used car, but you can end up making thousands of dollars on these properties. So we're going to show you some secret locations of these. And then from there, we're actually going to bring in a special guest who just went to an auction, picked up two properties. One of them was for 86 grand with an ARV of 337,000 bucks. And another is one that he bought for $36,000 that's going to be tuned up a bit to rent out for $1,000 per month. So this is the wonderful world of tax deed investing. If you've not heard of it. And this is kind of a small niche in real estate where you can have an opportunity to buy properties by either paying the back taxes owed, or the opening bid will be an auction where the government says, hey, you haven't paid your property taxes in 3 to 5 years. We're going to sell it. The opening bid is the back taxes owed, and things can get bid up from there. So this is a great way to get into real estate and get some deals. Everybody thinks that to get into real estate, you need hundreds of thousands of dollars. You need excellent credit. You know, you got to give your arm, your leg, and your dog to scoop up a property, but that's not the case. I'm Dustin Hahn, and this channel is dedicated to helping investors get really good deals on properties. Sometimes you can get properties for a couple $100, sometimes a couple thousand, sometimes a couple $100,000. So there is a starting point for everybody in this business, pretty much no matter where you are. So the way to think about it is the less money you have to start, the more elbow grease you're going to put into the game. So this channel's been around now for about 10 years. Happens to be the #1 channel on Tax Liens and Deeds. We have like 3,000 videos now. And we created the #1 free resource for tax lien and deed investing called Tax Lien School. And everybody who tunes in always gets this free book that is below in the description that'll walk you through how to find these deals on top of our videos. So what we wanted to do today was something unique and fun, to bring in somebody who just got into the business and picked up two properties at their first sale. So we're going to bring in the crew here. So warm welcome, Wasim. How you doing today?
Doing good, guys. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. And many of you are familiar with Corey and Josh. Corey, how you doing?
Hey, doing well. The sun is at a very inopportune place on this live stream. It looks like I am angelic, but it's just the sun.
Your shirt looks good. So Corey has now outfitted us with some Tax Lien School merchandise, which we shall wear on the live streams moving forward, because that's how you know you made it on YouTube. Got the hat. And then Josh is going to show us some places with some really cheap property. So obviously today's title is Buy Cheap Property for $1,000. And from there, that can be your gateway, your on-ramp. If you only have $1,000, this is where you start. From here, we're going to look at deals that are more expensive. And we always like to be realistic as well. Sometimes these properties might be junk, but other times there are diamonds in the rough, especially in the cheaper stuff. Sometimes you might go to an auction, it might get bid up, and that's okay. Other times you might get some deals. One of the key things we're going to do here today is Wasim went to Texas from California, and we like, if you're going to travel, to go to an auction with at least 100 properties, because you need to make it worth the travel. There's nothing worse than going to a tax deed auction and then showing up and all your properties get redeemed, and it's a sad party. So yeah, Wasim, as a beginner getting into it, you know, I think that the elephant in the room is the skepticism at first. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, if this works so good, why isn't everybody doing it? You know, why are these guys talking about it? How skeptical were you when you first heard of this stuff?
Pretty skeptical. I'll be honest. I mean, I was introduced to this by a coworker, and I've spent the last 1.5 to 2 years just researching, learning, you know, putting in the hours of, you know, spreadsheets and drive-bys and kind of going to like the virtual auctions that you see on different sites and just watching it actually happen.
That makes sense. That's really what a lot of people feel when they're watching these channels and things like that. So so you just got back from Texas. So walk us through kind of what you got, the opening bid, what you got it for, ARV, and what your plan is moving forward.
Yeah, so I purchased 2 condos in Texas. I started researching all this about 3 weeks ago or so when I realized I could make it to this auction. So, I flew out there on Saturday. Between those two, Saturday and Sunday, I drove about 60 properties or so. Make sure it was worth my while. By the morning of the auction, I narrowed that list down to 15 in between properties that had either been redeemed or I had kind of taken off my list. But the first condo that I purchased, the opening bid was just a little bit over $10,000.
Okay.
And that's the one that ended up going for 87. That's the one that I purchased for 87. I'll be honest, I sat it out at first. I was just letting people bid it and seeing what people were doing. I definitely wasn't the first person to raise my hand on it, but I was obviously the last person to raise my hand on it. And it's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath condo in a very, very nice part of Houston.
Okay.
And looking at the comps and things like that, it's worth about $340,000.
Nice.
And I think that one has a lot of really good potential to be rented.
Okay.
So that's one potential plan for me for this one. And the second property was another condo, kind of opposite side of town. The opening bid was a little over $2,100.
Okay.
Ironically, in this same community, there were 6 other condos all going up for grabs, literally all in the same neighborhood. Some by the same owner and some by a different owner. And so I was watching the activity and how high the other ones got bid up to. So then I had an idea of how high this one was going to go to. And I ended up getting that one for $36,000.
Okay.
That one I'm pretty sure I can very easily rent out with an ARV of probably close to $70,000 if I were to really fix it up and sell it.
Okay. With these, what's your goal right now? Like, are you looking for residual income? Are you wanting to flip these, or what's your action plan on these properties?
I'm going to let the properties speak for themselves. Honestly, I'm still working on gaining access to them and trying to get the better idea of the inside and what the condition is and what all is going to be going on from there. I trusted because that they were condos that at least the shell of the property would be in good condition. The outside and the roof and whatnot. And so, there's a lot of expense there that I wouldn't really need to burden because I know it's kind of already being taken care of. And so I kind of went a little bit more aggressive on those because I knew that the numbers would kind of make sense. And so as soon as I'm able to take a look at the insides of it, and I'll really, and also, with the help from you guys and all the coaches on the team, that you guys can help me, figure out the best strategy for how to proceed with this going forward.
Excellent. Good stuff. Yeah, those are some good deals out of the gate. I'm going to say hello to everybody who is just joining us here. If you're just joining, welcome to the stream. We're doing a bit of a case study here today. Wasim just got back from an auction where he bought 2 properties. So for everybody who's tuning in, do me a favor. Let me know who's here. Let me know your city, your state, and your name, and we can tailor the stream here as we go. In a few minutes, we're going to circle around to some of these $1,000 properties that are going to be going up to auction. So let me know. And then from there, put any questions you have in the comment box, and we will answer any questions you have on tax liens and deeds. So Wasim, as you were doing this, you mentioned you spent like the first year just kind of studying and poking around and then taking action. What, I guess what was the delay and taking so long?
What was the delay? Honestly, some of it was kind of half in, half out. Toes in the water, toes not, and a lot of it was that, being distracted in other parts of my life and my career and other parts of the world.
Sure.
And, I just decided at the beginning of the year that I was just going to go deep into this.
Cool.
And I kind of also, went very deep the last couple of months, prior to the end of the year, but something just kicked in, and, all the talk on the streams of, taking action and just a little bit every single day is what really helped me be successful with this one.
Cool.
Because as soon as I got the list started, I spent maybe an hour a night or so just working on a little bit, and then I got lucky at the auction. So
very cool. I feel like that is a nice, modest path that you took on it. You know what I mean? Like you spent a year, you kind of dabbling, and then you just made a decision to take it more seriously and do it.
Yeah.
Is where probably a lot of folks tuning in, you're probably in that same boat. And which is why we were excited to have Wasim on today, is that he's probably very similar to you guys. You've been watching these streams, maybe you're watching other channels or doing different type of attempts at endeavors. And the thing is, free information. And I mentioned this many times, like there's as much free information out there to pretty much do whatever you want these days. If you want to learn how to drive a semi truck, if you want to build a cabin in the woods or learn physics, all of that information is out there. Or get in shape. But it's like people are more miserable, unhealthy than ever. And when you make that decision of I'm going to do it, then you kind of prioritize and execute. So Wasim, you work with us in one of our training programs. And, I don't want this to go into a pitch for any of that too deeply, but did that help you come into it a little deeper?
Absolutely. The training program you guys put together, plus the support from the entire team, has been very, 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 very helpful, very foundational, very instrumental. You guys have helped me avoid some grenades that I potentially could have stepped on. Some even the morning of, and that I had really big plans to bid for a couple properties. And then, because of some stuff that I've learned and some guidance I've got, I decided not to. And, one of the things that I've kind of always made a commitment to is to never stop learning. And I think that's the case with this, is that I'm constantly learning this every single day. So.
Very cool. No, appreciate that. And, our goal is to provide the Tax Lien and Deed community with as much information as possible and kind of meet you where you want help. Some people might just watch videos. Some people, if you want to come to an auction with us, or if you want to be speaking with us, we're here for you guys. So, Wasim, it's awesome to see you getting out of the gate with some good deals. And I think it's neat to kind of touch on, obviously, it's investing, right? There's going to be risk, and our goal is to help you guys mitigate that risk. And when it comes to these condos, a lot of the times you can mitigate some risk there because you can see what's going on the outside, right? Is it in a good neighborhood? How does it look? You can stop in front of it and take photos and not be a creeper. If there's, people in the condos, they don't know you don't live there. Whereas if you're looking at a house, if they're living in there or they're having a barbecue on the front lawn, it sometimes makes it a little challenging to get your due diligence. So with these condos, the one that you bought for 86 grand, ARV 337, how many square feet is that condo?
It's 1,200.
1,200. Yeah. So, even if you had to budget for a full rehab, like $30 a square feet, you can still be in a position to easily double your money or more, right?
Yeah, that's definitely kind of one of the possibilities here with this. I'm not new to being a landlord, so I'm open to it.
Yep.
If that's what we decide is best for this property, or if we decide it's best to sell it and flip it to someone else, I'm willing to do that too. So.
Yeah, like it all depends on where you guys are at for your strategy. So today we're going to look at some property, $1,000. If you have $1,000, this is where you're going to start. If you have 100 grand, you can take bigger swings or also sprinkle some of these in as well. For the people that have lower budgets, you'll start lower. You'll put in some elbow grease and work your way up. Often, the more you spend, the bigger the upside is going to be if you do it right. I think you were mentioning one of the red flags, Wasim. Was there one that, did you mention that earlier, as far as one that had a big red flag?
Yes, there was one. There was a home that I was really wanting to actually bid fairly aggressively on. It was a very, very nice community. And I could tell the home had just kind of been abandoned for a little bit because, the outside just needed a really good power wash and the grass needed to be cut, but otherwise it actually looked pretty good. The neighborhood had pools everywhere and all the neighbors had pools. It was a very nice area. And I noticed it was a homestead. And so that kind of perked my ears because of the 2-year redemption period that I've learned, from you guys. But one of the concerns with that one is, the auction was on a Tuesday, and that Monday, like literally the day before, a warranty deed had been signed and recorded to somebody else. And I knew that if I were to somehow get this property, that it would be a somehow massive legal mess. If they weren't notified, even though the names were very similar to the names if I were to read the cases, but I didn't want to even just go down that rabbit hole. So I just pulled the trigger and said, forget it.
Okay.
So
good bullet dodged. And for anybody who's wondering, basically a homestead is a special exemption that you in Texas can apply for, where you get different benefits, some tax breaks and things like that. But the big one is if at a Texas sale, the property's marked homestead, it means rather than a 6-month redemption, it can be up to a 2-year redemption. So we generally avoid those as well because, you don't want your money tied up that long. This is often, depending on how you want to play the game, if you're wanting to cycle money quickly, then that doesn't work very well as far as that goes. So Wasim right now has some good options. He could take this property for 86. You could probably flip it as is and make $100,000, probably pretty easily, as far as if you don't want to fix it up or just clean it up or rent it out. So you have some cool options in front of you. So are you going to work these? Or are you going to go back to more auctions coming up? What do you think the future is going to look like?
I think I'll have a better picture as soon as I can take a look at the insides of these. I was actually talking about this yesterday as to what my plan is, because there's a bunch of auctions coming up that I'm actually registered for, and I've already started to research. But I need to see what the capital situation is going to be and what the plan is for these before I start getting aggressive anywhere else. Yeah.
You think you're going to stick to Texas, or are you broadening out to other auctions?
I'm willing to look anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm really open to any state, any county, pretty much. There's a couple that I'm kind of trying to avoid intentionally, but otherwise I'm pretty open to anywhere.
Cool.
So,
yeah. That's kind of the big thing that we try to land the plane on for folks is like, you don't have to be, stuck in one area. There's 3,300 counties, over 1,500 tax deed counties. And the whole world of this really opens up after you really get that first deal. And it's like, oh, wait a minute, this is actually real, right? Is a big one. It's like you got the e-brake on in the car and you're trying to drive down the road, and it's just so much friction. And then once you get that first deal, it's like the e-brake is off and we're cruising down the road. So that's generally the way it works for anybody getting into this, is until you kind of do that first deal, it's kind of like, what is this? And then once you get that deal, and especially with yours, having some good meat on the bone with these, it's like, oh, well, why don't I just find more auctions and make more money? Which is great. So welcome, everybody. We just did a bit of a case study here. Wasim just got back from the Texas auction. Let us know any questions you have. We'll dive into some questions coming up. And we got a fun show here today. So if you like this, hit subscribe, thumbs up. Remember, we give away the mini course below, the ABCs of tax lien and deed investing. It'll walk you guys through where to find these step by step. It's our gift to you guys. It has all of the checklists that we go through when we're going to these auctions. So we're going to do 2 things right now. Corey has a special segment, and then we're going to go over to Josh and deep dive into some of these properties.
Nice. So we go now.
Let's
do it. All right. So welcome everyone to Corey. Oh, hold on. Put on the cool hat.
There we go.
Welcome to Corey's tech segment. So let me share my screen here, and then I'll see.
If you guys haven't noticed, we clearly just got our shipment of merch.
Yes. Whoa.
Actually, next time we'll all be wearing it. We'll send you. What do you want, a hat or hoodie?
So send you some stuff. I got a form you can fill out. Cool. Okay. So, I wonder, can I just do myself? Oh no, just me. You. Anyway, we can all be there. That's fine. Cool. So what I wanted to talk about today is just if for all of you who are looking at county lists and how we use Regrid. So you want to look at parcel lines, parcel maps, as they say. And so we used to use a place called, or a website called Landglide a lot, but since then we've been using a website called Regrid. So Regrid is just regrid.com. And then you come over here to Regrid app and then open the web app. And then basically it just gives you the county lines, the county map lines. And so you can input addresses or you can input parcels to find kind of what you're looking at. And so I just wanted to go over quickly a issue that you might have if you can't find them. So it makes it really easy if you do know where you're going. So I just went over to the Arkansas Commissioner of State Lands here. It's because it was the first thing that popped into my head. But what you can do is if it doesn't have an address, for instance, this doesn't have an address on it anywhere, just the owner's name, the county, and the parcel. And so what you can do is you can just copy this address like this, and then you can right click it. I use hotkeys, so I just hit Command C on my keyboard, and then we can come back over here and we can just paste it up here in the search bar, and we can see Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Now I can't confirm that that's the right place, but without further information. But what I can do here is now I can come down and I can see, okay, Pine Bluff, same parcel number, and we've got 110 West 73rd Ave, which is great. That's the address. We got 1.07 acres, and Davis Danielle. Oh, Dustin, you want to flash that disclaimer?
Oh, yeah. Hold on one sec here, everybody. If you're tuning in, real quick, this is all public record. Everything we're showing is public record. We're not disclosing any information that is not free public county record for the YouTube algorithm. When we show these things, sometimes it thinks we're logging into people's confidential information.
Yeah,
but
public record.
All of this is available to everybody online. Yeah. Good catch, Corey. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So then we have Larry C. Nance Jr., and this one says the owner is Davis Danielle. So there is a discrepancy there. I wouldn't necessarily go based on what this says. I don't know how often this gets upgraded. Josh, do you think that's normal for it to be possible that that's different? I know you've used Regrid a bunch more than I have.
Yeah. So if I have any kind of questions, what I would usually do then is look at the legal description and just make sure that the legal description kind of lines up with what I'm seeing. Okay. And that's really the only time I would kind of go to a secondary site, and then I might just go straight to the county GIS map. But yeah, normally just Regrid unless you see something strange. But yeah, you got the legal description there. Yeah, so there might be some. So
we can troubleshoot that right now. If I hit this bid button, it'll take us legal. So beg 421 east northwest. Beg 421 feet east northwest. Yeah, and then we've got. So this is actually where AI can really help you. But we got, let's see, it ends in 110 feet to POB 1 acre. 110 feet to POB. Yeah, so it's looking pretty close. If this was a property we're actually doing, we'd want to just make sure it was exact. For the sake of this call and us like going line by line for this, I won't do that, but it's looking like it's the same area. This is in Jefferson County. I can actually just take this address here. And these are sort of what we would do anyway, just to make sure that we're actually in the right, like to make sure you're actually doing proper research. Pine Bluff, Arkansas. So I would just Pine Bluff is what county? And if it says Jefferson County, yeah. So chances are we're in the right ballpark. But I would just verify that legal description. So that's cool. So that allows us to then come over here, and you will run into a lot of auctions, especially like on these in Arkansas and on smaller counties where they might not have the address, or if they post a PDF like on their website, they won't have the address attached to it sometimes. But I don't know, probably 30 to 40% of the time they don't have the address. So that's just a quick way where you can find it. And then you can kind of go over here and just grab the address and then mark that on your spreadsheet, and you'll be good to go. One other thing I wanted to say, just on this sort of looking at parcel maps and Regrid and county GIS, like this is technically like I think it's global image satellite, maybe it's different than that, but it's like an overview of the county maps. Another thing that can happen is you'll get the county will give a parcel address like this one. I was doing this one earlier. This one actually doesn't pull up at all. So it doesn't find anything. But what's interesting is if you take off the first 2 digits of it, it actually pulls up this one in Pennsylvania, which we know we're not in Pennsylvania, or statistically, Arkansas County website's not going to put a Pennsylvania property on their website. So we can kind of rule that out as not being true. But then if I think it was, did I take this off? Yeah, if I took off a 0 there, now we have 3 different properties in Arkansas. So it actually could be one of these ones. And so this is where you get into a bit of a deep dive where you need to like go into the weeds a little bit. Now for this property where it's starting bid's 1,800, I actually don't know what it is. So it could be a good deal, but chances are people doing research aren't going to go this far into the research because it's actually harder to know what it is. But what we would just have to do is we would have to just sort of check out this legal description here and go through each one of these and scroll down to legal description, which we can do that right now and see. Where was that legal description? Yeah, so we have BEG 421 featuring east northwest corner. BEG, yeah, so this might not be, it looks a little different, but it could be one of the other ones. But I don't want to get too deep in the weeds in this, but that's what happens. So sometimes what you'll have to do is you'll actually get this whole parcel address here, like this, and it actually, you can see how between these 2 counties it's different. Now that just might be the way some counties work in states. But oftentimes in a state, the parcel numbers actually all need to be the same. So you can see there's only 3 digits here in the beginning, but this one has 5. So that's why I took off the first few digits. And we can see here there's 3 zeros at the end, but this one has 4. And so oftentimes what you'll have to do is you'll actually have to modify the parcel number. You don't usually add numbers unless it's a 0, but usually you might need to take away stuff. And so that's a lot of information. One last thing to do, so I can melt your mind just a tiny bit more while you're here on this live stream with us, is one hack you can do is if you don't know what the parcel ID is supposed to look like let's say you do have this parcel ID like this, and you're like, it's just not pulling up. What you can do is you can just scroll into like, let's say let's go to Little Rock here and just have a look. I'll just zoom right into Little Rock, and I'll click on an address. And I'll actually scroll down and see what the parcel ID looks like. And so here we have it's actually a different parcel ID, but they should all be very similar. So you can see they all start with 34L. And so I can even go and click another random parcel like this. Well, that was a dark click, but it's a cemetery. But it starts with 34L. And so I can actually tell based on this that I'm not even in the right spot. So maybe we'll go back to Pine Bluff here. So I can zoom right in. If I know that we're in Pine Bluff, I can click on a parcel and I can see, okay, well, there's 3 digits here. Sorry, let me zoom in. There's 3 digits here, and then there's a dash, and then there's 5 digits, and then there's a dash, and then there's 3 digits. So that's actually like, for that county, that's how they organize their parcels. And so I can take that information and use it. That's a lot of information, and I think that's enough for now. But it's very fascinating. It's kind of like detective work, treasure hunting. So sometimes you might need to deep dive into it if you can't figure it out right away. And so that's just an encouragement to y'all to just do that. And it works the same with title information with Seam and Josh. Like when they go to the auction, it's the same thing. You're kind of digging through all the information with title, trying to piece it together. And so it just takes a bit of persistence and practice, but you will get the hang of it. So thanks for listening, and take off my teaching hat now.
Very cool. Oh, the teaching hat. Nice. Yeah, let's shift gears, Josh. Let's show them some few examples of some $1,000 properties coming up. And then if you guys have any questions, we'll get to those here coming up shortly. Let us know where you're tuning in from, city or state. We would love to say hello.
All right. Yeah, we'll start. I'm going to show a couple in the $1,000 range, and then I want to show something that's very, very exciting. Pretty mind-blowing. So let's go ahead, share that screen, and you guys can see this. Yeah, okay, perfect.
Looking good.
All right. So what's that?
Oh, you're good.
You're good.
Oh, okay, you're good. All right, I want to show you this website. This is Line Barger, Attorneys at Law, and so they handle a lot of tax sales for Pennsylvania and also Texas. And I can come in here, I can go tax sales, and I can look at Texas tax sales. And here's a bit of a map. So we can see right now there's 4,317 properties in the ecosystem, you could say. So they're juggling quite a bit. You can see there's some around here in Dallas, some around Galveston, or all the way far, West Texas. So they handle a whole bunch of different counties within the state. And if I want to look at the upcoming auctions that they're going to handle, I can go, so February 3rd, that was 2 days ago, that just passed. So the next auction is March 3rd, 2026. And so now there's 607 properties that they're going to be juggling and handling for Texas. And so if you just want to fast track it, you want to try to figure out, okay, where do I want to focus? Because it's great that they have all of the information here in one section, because otherwise you'd have to go to each different county to find it. And here it's just all in one different spot. So I'm going to go ahead and sort this by opening bid instead. And there we go. Minimum bid. This one is at $0, but I'm sure that's going to change. But here we go, $529. And so there is a property address here, 4215 Church Street. But as Corey mentioned, or as Corey showed, we always want to go with the parcel number. And so just a quick, easy way, there's an account number right here. I'm going to copy that. We'll throw it into Regrid. Looks like I already did it. And there you can see this is just a piece of land. So here's the property. This is like 425 Church right here. So going back, that's what we've got. But it is just a piece of land, not landlocked or anything like that, but you'd probably be hard pressed to have a good exit strategy for that. So that's why we always use the parcel number. That way it keeps things clear. But when we go down further, we do get property addresses. So this is $1,037, 427 Red Maple Street, Huntington, Texas. So very well could be a house. And one of the things we always like to look for is just where the county has got it wrong for the adjudged value. We've bought many foreclosures in Ohio before, and one of the rules was that it had to be 2/3 of the assessed value. And you would think, it'd be tough to make money, right, if that's the opening bid. But we just found the opportunities where the county got it wrong. So maybe they thought the assessed value is $100,000, but it's actually worth $200,000. And so that's how you can come in here. You can actually find some gems. And so maybe the adjudged value, what they're saying it's worth is $23,000, but it could actually be worth $60,000. And so that's what you're looking for. So just a little bit of due diligence, taking those parcel numbers, those account numbers, putting them in. Here's another one, $1,130. We got $1,150. And so generally the adjudged value is going to be, in the ballpark, but that's not always the case. And so here's another one, looks like a condo. $1,500 is the opening bid. Judge value $22,000. So that should be a house. Same with this one here. Same with this one here. So there's actually a few that are similar. And so this way, you actually know which auction you want to focus on. So going back to that first one that was around $1,000, more or less, we can see what county that's in. And then, okay, this is the auction I'm going to prioritize. Yeah, so here we go, $1,037. I can click more details, and it's in Angelina County. We got the date, the account number. We've also got the case number, which is great when you're pulling up court records, which is fantastic. So $1,500, $1,000. We saw one for $500. The opening bids on these are extremely low, and there is gold and there are gems in here. Now, one of the things we know about tax sales is that the mortgage gets wiped. And so it's very rare that you see like $1 million home going to a tax sale, because usually those have mortgages. And so I just wanted to quickly see what was happening next month in Harris County. And this one came up right here. They're saying an adjudged value of $861,000 with a minimum bid of $71,000. And I looked it up, and look at this beautiful property. So closer to $1 million. Look at the inside of this home. This is like top notch for Houston. This is as nice as it gets.
It's a wild photo filter too. We're really accenting the contrast on everything.
Right? This is my kind of style. So this was bought not that long ago, And we got the prompt thing up. Yeah, okay. So nothing sensitive here. It's just prop wire, but there's no mortgage on this property. So probably closer to $1 million, built in 2005, and we're not seeing any mortgage. And so this could very well make it to the finish line for this tax sale. This is saying, 913,000. Prop wire saying over $1 million, and then this one is saying 950,000. So I mean, the thing about these high-end items when they go to tax sales is that most people, they just don't have the capital to put into this. And so for someone to get $1 million property, for $250,000 or $300,000 at a tax sale is unreal. And so a lot of times, you're not going to know what the inside is like, but these photos are fairly recent. So opening bid, $71,000. We got a property that looks insane. And so if you were to buy this, on the MLS, if they were to put this on the MLS, it's going to sell for, like 700,000. And the last time we saw a high ticket item go in Harris County, it was $6 million, and it sold like 40% of that, which is unreal. So whoever bought that, they got millions of dollars in equity instantly. And the same thing is going to happen with this one if it actually makes it to the sale. So these kinds of opportunities are incredible, a lot of money to be made. And of course, a lot of people starting out, this is where you got to work first. You can do this, you can cycle the money quickly, you can build up your capital. And then next thing you know, after however long amount of time, you're able to get into these properties as well. But yeah, some really insane deals coming up March 3rd. Just want to show that too. But there's lots happening. This happens every month. There's always so many properties, which is really cool.
Nice. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. We'll do a couple quick questions here. If you guys like this, do us a favor, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and remember below is the free mini course and book on tax liens and deeds that you guys can grab. Actually, I think, Corey, we're working on getting this thing to Amazon, right?
Oh, yeah. We're editing it. Editing it. Well, I'm not editing it. Jack's editing it as we speak right now. Behind
we always get people asking for the physical copy of it. So that'll be coming soon.
Yeah.
As well. So a couple quick questions here have popped in. Here we go. Once again, appreciate everybody saying hello. James, Ralph from Germany, always good to see you. Cincinnati here. Let's see. What if you can't go to the tax sale, the due diligence, you don't get a bad deal? So I think you probably mean like remotely. One of the things we do is we send somebody to go get photos of the property. So sending like an off work Uber driver. Josh posts in like wholesaler communities, pay him 20, 25 bucks an hour to go get photos. And from there, you look up the process of the due diligence on the liens, and that's how we do it. Able to help you find something for 5K. That's what we were doing here today. So hope that helps. Let's see. Yeah, good to see everybody here. What's the longest you've had to redeem a tax deed in what state? So remember, a lot of tax deed states don't have a redemption period. Texas is 6 months. So that would be about the longest we wait. And Alabama must own all 4 years possible and foreclose. No, in Alabama, as long as you own the first year lien, you can foreclose after 3 years. So it is not 4 years, but you have to own the first lien in Alabama. Now, it does make things easier if you buy year 2 and 3 to simplify the foreclosure process. So if you buy year 1, buy years 2 and 3 if you can, just to make things easier for yourself. I'm in New York. We have a tax deed auction scheduled for June. Nothing is listed on the site. Catalog of auction company. Is there a way to see what listings may be coming up? Yeah, June is far out for these guys. So that's like that's a long way away. So I would just call and ask them, hey, when will the properties be listed? And then you can start watching it. Someone's saying, are there commercial properties at these auctions? Yeah, there's often plenty of commercial properties that come up. So keep an eye out for them. Like you've seen our funeral home that we bought, that's a commercial property. The thing to be aware of, I think it was like a couple weeks ago, we saw a commercial property, but it was an old gas station with tanks in the ground. So be careful if it's like, a laundromat or something that could have environmental things, an auto body shop, stuff like that you want to look into. as well. What do you think of Tennessee's 12-month redemption period? Josh lived in Tennessee. Josh, what's your take on those?
Yeah. So the thing is if you're looking to cycle your capital quickly, then it's a bit inconvenient, right? And so the thing is that in the state of Tennessee, there are going to be opportunities where you can bypass that. And so they have a lot of times, they might call them like special constable, special commissioner. It's pretty much a secondary sale. And a lot of times those are going to be much smaller, way less competition, and you'll be able to pick up something much cheaper. And so if it's a problem, if somebody doesn't want to have something, being tied up for 12 months, then that's a better play. So that way you can stay within the state, because some of the risks would be that you don't have any rights to the property. Whereas in Texas, redemption period is 6 months or 2 years if it's homesteaded, but you actually do have rights to the property. And so you can evict the homeowner, you can start collecting rent, and there's that 25% interest penalty, which means most people don't redeem. But in Tennessee, you don't have any of those benefits. You get an interest rate that's maybe, I know it's under 18, it's above 10, somewhere in there. It might be 12. So you're going to be getting a fairly low interest rate. But the thing is, you don't have any control for that first year. And so if it's occupied, you can't be collecting rent, which, would put a damper on things. And so that way, if you focus on the special sales, which are generally unsold properties, you bypass that and you can go ahead and you can get the ball rolling right away. You don't have to wait. You bypass that 12-month redemption period. So that's great. But if you can find an auction where properties are being sold relatively cheap and you can get it very cheap, the risk is low, then that's a really good idea. And so we would be more aggressive in Texas than we would be in Tennessee, because again, you have to wait 12 months before you can file for the deed and you have no control, right? And so if someone's not taking care of it, think about that compounding over a year. So you just have to be more aggressive. But getting things cheap, as long as the upside is there, then it's really good. We've seen people get great deals in the state of Tennessee. And so you just have to watch out for that. So pros and cons, but there's secondary sales. You can avoid that. So there's a lot going on. Just pay attention to those secondary sales, and then you can avoid all that.
Nice. Good question. Good question. If you guys like that, thumbs up. Let's see. Someone's saying, Utah auctions. How do we do it? So easiest thing, guys, below the video is the tax deed directory. Just crack it open to Utah and pick the county you want to go in. You'll have the website here. And then from there, you can give them a call. We have all the Utah counties in here. This is for free. Below the video is our gift to you. What are repository sales? So we talk about over-the-counter properties. Another term for those can be repository sales, properties that didn't sell at the auction that are sitting there or going to a secondary sale. Let's see. Kentucky is fast redemption for tax liens, correct? I don't remember the redemption in Kentucky.
Same. I'd have to check the vault.
12 months, we shall check. But we also know Kentucky does some tax deed sales as well. Try to get you that answer.
No,
here.
that's right. Yeah, it's a year.
Cool. 12-month redemption period for the liens. Actually, a lot of places are 12 months, like Arizona and Florida as well. So, from there, they will go and sell the second year taxes. Let's see. Do you run title search every time? Yeah. So anytime you're going to bid on a property, obviously you want to check the title if you're going to bid on it. So that's just part of it. You want to make sure there's no county or city liens or environmental things going on with it. So, narrow it down to what looks and fits your budget and then proceed with the title research. So let's see. What about Georgia? Georgia's great. We like Georgia. They, once again, like Texas, do auctions the first Tuesday of every single month. Specifically this county. So I want to give you a homework assignment right now. Okay. Simplest thing to do, call them up right after this live stream. We're going to hop off here in a minute, pretend we're going to go another 10 minutes and give them a call and ask them the questions in the book. When is the sale? What happens to the property that doesn't sell at the auction? When is the next sale? What form of payment? that's your homework. It is below here, right below the video, and then report back to us on Tuesday, and we can answer any questions that might have come up. So good stuff, everybody. Great stream today. Wasim, appreciate you sharing your experience going to Texas and picking up these 2 properties. I feel like your feedback is very similar to where a lot of people are. If you guys missed it, make sure to go back and listen. Wasim just got it, or he basically learned and studied for a year and then made the decision to just get some property and do it. So I know many of you guys are in that position as well. You just got to decide if you want to do it. And from there, these deals exist and we'll be here to help you. So yeah, if you want some help or you want to come join us at an auction or deep dive super quick, you can schedule a call with us and we could also help you as well. There's always that option there. Subscribe if you're new, like this stuff if you like it, in the thumbs up section. Wasim, Corey, Josh, appreciate everybody hopping on, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Awesome. See you, everybody.
Bye, guys. Thank you.